All right. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect. I'm the brother Ainaf from GMS Dallas. I got the elder Yatazak here from GMS Dallas as well. And today we're going to be continuing the series of Second Esdras. We do have to finish the first chapter. So we're going to finish chapter 1 where we left off last week. Last week we read up to verse 27. So we'll get through the end of this chapter and Lord willing into a portion of chapter 2 as well. All right. So Lord willing, Abaratazadis be edifying. Now, just to give a recap, last week, when we went over this second Ezra chapter 1, basically when you started at the top, you get the sentiment of a disappointed parent, the Most High being our father, our heavenly father. He basically is showing us all of the times that we went off throughout history. Okay, and this is it's going to be multiple times where the history is recounted, which is why it's so important to know what happened before this time. Um, and again, just as a recap, since it's the beginning of the lesson, this timeline is a good timeline to see who were contemporaries with one another. This timeline is called Timeline from David to Zerubbabel. If you type that in Google, this should pop up. And even before this timeline, even before the beginning of it, it starts with King David. Okay, you had the time of Judges, right? You had the book of Joshua, the book of Deuteronomy, Numbers, Leviticus, right? Exodus,
Hey,
and it goes.
Salakia, are you?
Mhm.
Do you want to share your screen?
Oh, I thought I was sharing my screen already. My bad. That's my
Okay,
fault.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and bring it up.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's my fault. I just had it
Okay,
toggled off. My bad.
I can see it now.
Okay, so yeah, the water. So this is what I was looking at here. This timeline here. So with this timeline, it kind of gives you an idea of some important names that you can go back in the history and look into. But even before this timeline, like I said, this is not the beginning of Israel's history. This is just from David. But even when you go back, like I said, read the book of Judges. You read the book of Joshua. And the books that precede those. Deuteronomy, Exodus, so on. These these are these are books that contain our history, right? And so these the events that are in those books are going to be going to be constantly mentioned. Okay. But where we're at on the timeline here, we're reading is at the end of this timeline here. You can see Ezra's name. If you zoom in, it's kind of blurry, but it's after the return of the Judeans, will say the return of Israel, the southern kingdom, to Jerusalem. So after the Babylonian Empire fell to the Persians and the Medes, okay, specifically during the time of Artaxerxes the first. Okay, so now that we got that locked in, all right, and we can see, by the way, just referencing this timeline again, um, this was around 450 to 400 BC. Artaxerxes the first, he was around 450 BC, we'll say. Okay, now let's go ahead and continue on here where we left off. Second Ezra's chapter 1 and verse 28. Okay. It says, "Thus saith the Almighty Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, uh, have I not prayed you as a father his sons, as a mother her daughters, and a nurse her young babes, that ye would be my people, and I should be your power, that ye would be my children, and I should be your father?" It says, "I gathered you together as hen gathereth her chicks, as a hen gathereth her chicks under her wings. But now what shall I do unto you? I will cast you out from my face. And this is the same sentiment that Yahushua came in. Let me see if I can pull it real quick. Okay. I believe he referenced this. Um, what is the word used here? Does it say her chickens? Okay, so let's see if I can find it. Uh, oops. What the hell? Okay, I'll just get rid of that. Got time for that. Gathereth. Bro, what the hell is going on? I can't even type on here. Okay. Salakia. Why isn't this letting me type? All right, I'm gonna just go back and read this.
Satan doing this thing. We're gonna soldier through it.
Wait, hold on. Am I tripping? I just want to just make sure I'm not tripping. I'm trying to type. Like, okay. Oh, I think I pressed something on my keyboard that activated a shortcut. I think. Hold on, bro. This shit. All right. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna keep reading. But there's a scripture where Yahushua says that he would have gathered Israel together, but Israel it was against the will of Israel to get right with Yahushua. But Yahushua references this hen gathering her chickens under her wings. He references that in the New Testament. So I just wanted to bring that out. Thankfully, I do have 3 precepts already lined up. I don't know why it's not letting me type, but I'll read let me see if I can find it on my phone because I did want to pull that up real quick.
What you want to pull up?
I'm going to look up because I'm not exactly okay, Matthew 23 and 37. Matthew 23 and 37 is the specific scripture. I don't know what this shit. Well, I might be able to click it on here. Let's go. Yeah, it won't let me type. Okay, yes, it will. Matthew, here we go. I'm gonna just shortchange it. Matthew 23. I'm gonna finesse this. There we go.
What you
All
want
right,
in Matthew 23? I can pull it
in
up,
verse,
or at
yeah,
least
23.
try.
I got it right here. Matthew 23 and 37. This is the one I wanted. It says, "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets and stonest them which are sent unto thee, how often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not." That's the script, the precept that came to mind when reading this. I don't know why I was bugging out when I was trying to type it, but it's basically the same reference, showing you that. And this is not the only time that Yahushai uh, basically brought out the same thing that's written in the Apocrypha. He brought out many things, many parables, things like that that are written in the Apocrypha, right? I'll read verse 38 and 39. It says, "Behold, your house is left unto you desolate." Yeah, because ultimately they destroyed themselves. Israel was, when you read Hosea, the first chapter, the Lord casts Israel off as a nation, right? And it says, no, it's not this one. It says here, verse 29, "For I say unto you, ye shall not see me henceforth till ye shall say, Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord." And this is when Yahushai, basically withdrew himself from trying to teach Jake, and specifically in Jerusalem, because obviously they were scoffing, you know, and so he withdrew himself, man. All right. And the Lord, pretty soon, he's gonna cause that famine of the word to go out as well in these times. But going back to this in Second Ezra chapter 1, let me just check, make sure everything good. Okay. Yeah, somebody, yeah. Uh, yeah, comment said I think YouTube has been. It might be something weird going on with YouTube right now. I don't know. But anyway, keep going here. Second Ezra chapter 1 and verse 31. It says, "When ye offer unto me, I will turn my face from you. For your solemn feast days, your new moons, and your circumcisions have I forsaken." You know, and the Lord. That's why the Lord said, He really values a contrite heart. And a broken spirit. And the Lord,
Ain't nobody gonna be able to say they didn't know.
right? Yeah,
Oh, this shit got demons on it. God damn.
yeah. My bad. Is it lagging? Am I lagging at all?
Damn.
Is it a delay?
It might be my connection. I don't know. I would say every time yeah, it's done. Satan done set it up to where I got to get bit by mosquitoes every time I want to do a lesson. So fuck it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
it
con.
sounds like you in a helicopter underwater on my end. But now it sounds better. That I'm getting closer to my modem and router and shit.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, my Wi-Fi is good from my end, so just let me know. What I'm saying, if I
I
need to
think it's on
backtrack.
my
But
end with all that choppy shit.
con, con. All right, so I'm gonna go back here. Second Ezra 1 and verse 32. It says, "I sent unto you my servants the prophets, whom ye have taken and slain." So keep in mind, we just read, by the way, just for context, we just read Matthew. All right, Matthew 23. These are, and this should be in the red letter. Should be in the red letter here. Yahushua saying this, right? Basically the same thing we're reading in Second Ezra. This was 400 years later. 400 plus years later. Um, okay, after Second Ezra's, and Yahushua saying the same thing. So that's why we're saying the same thing in these times. It's the same. It's the same sentiment. Okay, nothing is new under the sun. Okay,
That's
so
right.
all right. So it says, verse 32, "I sent unto you my servants, the prophets, whom ye have taken and slain and torn their bodies in pieces, whose blood I will uh, require of your hands, said the Lord. Thus saith the Almighty Lord, your house is desolate. I will cast you out as the wind doeth stubble." Okay, which reminds me of Ezekiel the 15th chapter. Okay. I mean, you know what? I don't see the harm in getting it. I'll get to the point, of course. If it lets me type. E. Okay. Ezekiel 15. All right, we're in the game. Cool. Ezekiel 15 and all right. I'll start at verse 6. It says, "Therefore, thus saith the Lord, as the vine tree among the trees of the forest, which I have given to the fire for fuel, so will I give the inhabitants of Jerusalem." Yeah, the vine, after you grow grapes, the wood, the vine from the wood can't be used for anything, so you just burn it up. So the Lord compared, the wicked of our people to vine tree wood. It says, verse 7, "And I will set my face against them. They shall go out from one fire, and another fire shall devour them. And you shall know that I am Yahweh Shem Shah when I set my face against them." Now, this is in Ezekiel, right? We're reading. We'll use our handy timeline here, and we can find Ezekiel prophesied, okay, around the same time as Jeremiah and Daniel. Okay, you see here uh, Nebuchadnezzar II. He was the one that was responsible for, taking over the southern kingdom, Judea. Okay, and so he was around, like I said, during the time of Jeremiah, Daniel. Okay, and ultimately the temple was destroyed shortly after. So these things came to pass shortly after, right? So the Lord ain't
Yeah,
playing, man.
when you zoom in on the timeline, it look way it's way easier to read.
Yeah, con. It's this is as far in as I can zoom it. I mean,
That's
obviously, if you're
perfect.
zoomed all the way out, like you're not going to be able to read it, of course. But when you zoom in,
Yeah.
you can see like it's a pretty decent quality timeline. I just wanted to show the range of it because it does go into detail, starting from 1000 BC all the way up into 500 BC, which that was when Israel was in rulership. You know, now, this is all Israel. Israel's time. Okay,
Hmm.
so that was a point in Ezekiel 15. All right, going back to Second Ezra's uh, 1 and 34, it says, "And your children shall not be fruitful, for they have despised my commandment and done the thing that is evil before me." Okay, you go into Joshua. Again, we mentioned it last week. How the after Joshua and those elders of his generation passed away, Israel just began to transgress it more and more. Okay, and it got worse and worse. Right. It says, verse 35, "Your houses will I give to a people that shall come." All right. Now, this here is where you start to see being talked about ultimately the elect. Okay. Now, one thing that's important to remember is that, we fell away as a nation. We fell away. We get it all the time. I'll get it here. Second Thessalonians chapter 2. All right. And verse 3. Okay. This is Second Thessalonians 2 and 3. It says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come." What's the day? The day of Yahweh Shai. Okay. That day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed. Who's the man of sin? Esau, Edom. All right, the son of perdition. Perdition means destruction. So that falling away was us falling away from the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we had, that the body had at that time. Israel as a whole, we pretty much, fast forward to, slavery times. We didn't know Hebrew, we didn't know the name of the Lord. Okay, so we fell away from the Lord, and now we understand where we're at in prophecy. Okay, the people that are to come are we're in those times. We're in those times where um it says, "Your houses will I give to a people that shall come, which not having heard of me yet shall believe me." Excuse me. "To whom I have showed no signs, yet they shall do that I have commanded them." The amount of miracles that are being done as far as in the open compared to when we were in the wilderness, when we were seeing a miracle every single day with the chariot, hanging over our heads, and we had the temple, we had everything, the Ark of the Covenant, the Lord was very nigh to us back then. Now He's withdrawn Himself from us as a nation. Of course, He's still dealing with His prophets, and so that's basically what it's talking about. The Israelite foreigners. Okay, in these times, we've all been, according to the law, we've all been estranged. Okay, one way or another, from the Commonwealth of Israel, and we are, Lord willing, we're those men. We're those people that believe, that are going to believe unto the end. Okay, and that are going to do what Yahweh Shem Yahshua commanded us. So I want to get a precept real quick, a couple precepts. Um, this is Isaiah 65 and verse 1. And you got to break this down. You can't, you got to be able to break this down. You know,
Hmm.
this is a very important scripture here. This is Isaiah 65 and 1. It says, "I am sought of them that asked not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me unto a nation that was not called by my name." So if you ask a Christian, a Bible thumping Christian, um, they'll say, "Oh, look, see, that's talking about the Gentiles, meaning the heathen." You know, I was I said, "Behold me unto a nation that was not called by my name." Well, for good measure, we're gonna immediately go to, even though we already referenced it, Hosea 1 and 9.
Hmm.
Okay.
You got to
So let
understand the history to understand the mystery. You got to understand the history to unlock the mystery.
that's right. That's right. Okay. This is Hosea chapter 1, verse 9. Okay. It says, then said the most high, call his name Lo Ami or La Aimya, okay, which means not my people. Okay. Lo Ami means not my people. It says, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your power. Okay. Now, the Lord, he disowned us. And there's various other scriptures that confirm that he, he took his head. What was another one? The chapter where the Assyrians took over, they finally took over the northern kingdom. Was that First Kings 17 or Second Kings? One of the two, you know? And so there's multiple scriptures that go into how the Lord took his he took his name off of us. All right. And so if he took his name off of us, that means that we're not called by the Lord's name anymore. And we're likened unto another scripture that comes to mind is Jeremiah. Let's see if I can get it right off the top. Jeremiah, I believe is the 9th chapter, where the Lord likens us unto the heathen, where he calls us uncircumcised in the heart. Yep, this is it here. This is Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 25. It says, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that I will punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised. Okay.
Boom.
So, yeah. You
The
gonna say something?
circumcised and the uncircumcised is all Israel.
Yep.
You see, you have the circumcision. I would say you have the circumcision, which grew up in the customs. You know what I'm saying? Going back to those that held fast during the time of the Maccabees. And then you have the uncircumcised, which are those Israelite foreigners. You see, those
Hmm.
that understood and believed on the word as it was presented by the Apostle Paul through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You got the uncircumcision and the circumcision. You see,
Yep.
and if you don't know that history, it's not gonna make sense. Um, just like it don't make sense to the Christians, the
Yep.
so-called Christians. You got it.
Con. Yep. And of course it lists the actual heathen, like when you read verse 26, it talks about the different heathens, and but it mixes Jake in there. So it says Egypt and Judah and Edom and the children of Ammon and Moab and all that are in the outmost corners that dwell in the wilderness. For all these nations are uncircumcised. So the Lord called Judah uncircumcised. Okay. But even if you are circumcised physically, right, it says, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in the heart. So meaning your mind is like basically thinking like a heathen thinks, with no regard for following judgment and righteousness, you know. And so the Lord said, okay, I'm gonna punish you like the heathen. That's why Judah is included in there. Judah is not known was not known as an uncircumcised tribe. It's a circumcised tribe. Okay, so that just lets you know that the Lord, he basically looked at us like a rebellious people, like it says in this title here. Okay, and so it says I read verse 1 already. Okay, and really verse 1 is really the point. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really the whole chapter is the point, but really verse 1 is the point because um, those that sought the Lord, it says, I am sought of them that ask not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. When we came into this truth, we were doing our own thing in this world. We were like, you know, uh, just wiggling around, with no direction in life or whatever the case is. But we weren't trained up from a child like how Samuel was trained up from a child to become a priest. We weren't trained up from a child to become a prophet, okay, in this lifetime. But the Lord called us into uh this ministry, okay? And so I'll keep reading a couple more verses, but it says, I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good after their own thoughts, a people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrificeth in gardens and burneth incense upon altars of brick. So you think the Lord You think the Lord is gonna continue to keep his name on that people like that? So of course the Lord um, basically took his name off of us as a nation. And then when you drop down to verse 8, it talks about you know um, the Lord isn't gonna destroy all of Jacob. He's gonna leave a remnant in there. All right, the elect. Okay, I read verse 9. It says, and I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob, Yahushua being that seed. Okay, and out of Judah, see, Yahushua is from the tribe of Judah, um, and an inheritor of my mountains and mine elect. You see that? The elect. Okay, let's get that word. Should be Bachar. Yep. It says Bachayar, Bachar. The root word is Bachar. Bachayar is fine too. Chosen, elect. Okay, chosen one, or the elect of the Most High, selected. So the Lord selected a small amount of Israelites out of the larger group of Israelites that were wicked. Okay, he preserved a small remnant. Okay, you see his servants, and my servants shall dwell there. So that's what the same thing is going into here. Okay, when we're reading this second Ezra, it's the same thing. Okay, verse 36 back in second Ezra 1, it says it's talking about the elect still. They have seen no prophets, yet they shall call their sins to remembrance and acknowledge them. Yeah, Isaiah, Elijah. We didn't see a lot of these miracles, that Elijah did in person. Like, back then they were doing miracles that, if you've seen today, people, I'm saying, people will bug out. Um,
Oh, it'll go viral.
yeah, big time, beyond viral. Esau try to hurry up and kill him. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? That's what all these shows be about. You know what I'm saying? Heroes, The
Yeah.
Boys, Gen V. All these shows are based off spiritual powers being given through science. You know, and then in the midst of that, you have people that were actually born that way that have been unlocked, and you see the way that the powers that be respond to that. You know, just as a side note, but you got it.
Yep. All right. It says, all right, I'll continue on here. Verse 37, it says, I take to witness the grace of the people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness. And though they have not seen me with bodily eyes, yet in spirit they believe the thing that I say. Okay, because you have to believe. Well, matter of fact, Yahweh Shai said this. He said the most high is a spirit, and he that I'll use this tab. He that serves the most high must worship him in spirit and in truth. Um, I'll just get spirit and truth. See if I can find it real quick. Uh, Here we go. Yep, here we go. Yeah, St. John 4. That's it. Yeah, the woman at the well. That's right. Red letter. All right, this is St. John 4 and 24. All right. Start at verse 23. It says, but the hour cometh and now is when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. So you gotta worship the Lord in spirit, okay? Which means that you might not see him in the physical, okay? You might not see everything that we physically saw when we were in the wilderness, you know, to that degree, but you got to have a level of faith. Where's this tab at? You got to have a level of faith that the Lord, um, did those things in the past, and that He's capable of doing them, in the future, right? Verse 24 says, "The Most High is a spirit." Okay, and they that worship Him must worship Him in spirit and in truth.
You see that
So
in spirit, and in truth, not with lip service.
that's
You
it. Yeah.
see, it's a precept that says that they lips do honor me, but their heart is far from me. You see, you got a lot of people that say they believe in the Lord, but they actions show that they don't. You see, and only a spiritual man will be able to discern. You got it.
Oh, kind. I was trying to see if there's anything.
I said,
And
you
things.
worship the Heavenly Father in spirit and truth. You believe on Yahweh Shai, as the scripture has said. I say it's only one way you're going to get that understanding, and it's not unlocked to everybody.
Yep. It says a spirit, i.e., a simple essence, devoid of all grosser matter and possessed of the power of knowing, desiring, deciding, and acting. Is the word for spirit, which is a new. Let me see if I can pronounce it. Hold on. It says Neuma. Okay, but yeah, that was the point. You know, there's a big definition here, so I just want to get straight to the point. You know, but you have to worship the Most High in spirit as opposed to the flesh. Okay, you have to understand. Okay, I like this one here. It says the disposition or influence which fills and governs the soul of anyone. Okay, the spirit of the Lord has to influence you. Okay, to carry out the things that you have that you do in the flesh, but everything starts in the spirit first. Okay, so let's go back here. All right, you got to have faith. Okay, faith is the evidence of things unseen. Okay, so
Which is a
it's not
gift.
tangible. That's right. That's right, which is a gift. Right. So it says, verse 37 again, I take to witness the grace of the people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness. That lets you know, it's a precept right here to let you know that in the kingdom there will be children, okay, that are going to be made, baby making, okay, little ones rejoicing in gladness. And though they have not seen me with bodily eyes, yet in the spirit they believe the thing that I say. Okay. Yeah, man. So basically, um, this all requires faith. This thing of ours requires faith. Okay. It says, verse 38, and now, brother, behold what glory and see the people that come from the east. Okay. The west represents the past, the east represents the future. Okay. It says, unto whom um, I will give for leaders Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Hosea, Amos, Micah, Joel, Obadiah, and Jonah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi, which is called also an angel of the Lord. So all of these men, okay, what is an angel? Mala'ak, which is a messenger. All of these men had
Mm-hmm.
messages that they delivered. These men who were prophets, they all had messages, okay, that they delivered, okay, to the ones that the Lord wanted to get it, right? So pay attention to the deeds and the words of these men. Basically, is the sentiment that's being said, and who's the ones that's paying attention to those things? Is the elect. Okay. So we're halfway through here, 30 minutes in. So let's go ahead and I had a couple of other precepts regarding this, but it's pretty much the point. So let's go into chapter 2. All right. And we'll find a good place to stop as we continue. But this is Second Esdras chapter 2. All right. And verse 1, it says, thus saith the Lord, I brought this people out of bondage, and I gave them my commandments, my men servants, the prophets, whom they would not hear, but despise my counsels. Precept to come to mind, the end of Hebrews chapter 3, the end of it. It says, the mother that bare them saith unto them, go your way, you children, for I'm a widow and forsaken. Who is the mother? Who is the mother that bare them? The land of Israel. That's what that's going into. And I know we brought up Deuteronomy 28 last week, but I'm gonna get Deuteronomy. If anybody wanted those precepts that I was holding for chapter 1, it was Acts. Where is this at? Acts 13 verses 44 through 46, and I was also holding Isaiah chapter 55, verse 5, regarding the chapter 1 in second Esdras. But I'm gonna go ahead and change this up. What was I looking for? Oh, Deuteronomy 28.
Yep.
Deuteronomy 28. And let's start at 36. I'll hold that on deck. Let me read down one more verse. All right. It says, second Ezra 2 and 3, it says, I brought you up with gladness, but with sorrow and heaviness have I lost you. For ye have sinned before Yahweh Shem Yahushua your power, and done that thing that is evil before him. Okay. This is a constant thing that the Lord is reminding us of. Okay. So that shows you it's a big deal. It's not just something that you could just skip over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is Deuteronomy 28, verse 36. Okay, this is the curses part of this chapter. It says, "The Lord Yahweh shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone." So that's a curse. That's a curse to be worshiping Jesus and praying to Allah and Buddha and any other of these gods, false idols that this world has created. Okay, it says, "And thou shalt," verse 37, "and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee."
So I'm
You
saying
see?
that's one thing about the Lord. He ain't take nobody by surprise. He told you everything he was gonna do to you if you didn't obey.
Yep.
Period. Point blank. And that's what goes to show you that he put the spirit on Israel to rebel. It say the creature was made subject to vanity. Who made the creature subject to vanity? You know what I'm saying? And you see these people acting the way the Lord programmed them to act, whether it's good or bad. You got it.
Kind. All right. That was pretty much that was it on that. So let's go back here. Second Ezra's. Uh, we read verse 3, verse 4 says, "But what shall I do unto you now? Uh, I am a widow and forsaken." Again, this is. Let's see, from the second part of verse 2 all the way down to really all the way down to verse 4. This is the land of Israel. This is the actual land of Israel speaking to us.
Mhm.
Okay, directly like a mother. People say the motherland. Well, why do they say that? Because it nurtured, like how a mother nurtures her child. We get nourished off of the land. You know, we come up off of that land. We get attached to it, and especially being that the Lord gave it to us, right? But it says, verse 4, But what shall I now do unto you? I am a widow and forsaken." You see, the Lord, he cut off the land of Israel too. That's why when you go over there now, it's just all. If you go on Google Maps, bro, man, I'm gonna go on Google Maps real quick, just
Yeah.
to just to show how desolate the land is over there. Okay, I don't give a fuck. Y'all know I live in Dallas. Let me put this over here. Uh, you know what I'm saying? Okay, I ain't tripping. Where's the let me change this thing to how you change, oh, here we go. When I was a little kid, I used to be scared to go on here and look at certain places because it looked kind of scary from high up. So let me see. Uh let me go down a little bit. Okay, let's zoom in. So this is the land of Israel, and it's pretty dang on arid, man. I mean, of
Hey,
course they
Brian.
have. Say again. Yeah, very brown. This is supposed to be a river here. There's no water. I mean, of course you have like obviously like man, you do because they have to grow their own shit. So like you do have like certain plots that are like dedicated towards agriculture, but what happened? I heard something pop in. I don't know if you added something or whatever, but looks like everything's good. But you do have little certain areas that are dedicated toward agriculture that are, you know, but if you zoom out, bro, like, and they're making it blurry for a reason, but it's just dry, bro. You know, it's pretty dry. This should all be green. At least the majority of it should be pretty much green. And Esau can, of course, change the colors on here too. But this is like a more greener area. Like if you go to other areas, like you got some hills, you got some hills but it should be like this all over. See how there's just trees and stuff? It should be like this all over. You know, it's kind of sparse, especially when you get more inland, like over here. All of this shouldn't be all desert like. You know what I'm saying? This should be green over here. But in the kingdom, this is all going to be super, super green. I'll show you a contrast. Oh, okay. I didn't even plan on the this is how it should look. This is the Nile, the Nile River, the entrance of the Nile. Well, the Nile flows up, so it's really the exit of it. That's how Israel should look. But you see how dark, I mean how dry it is. Look at this. Look at this. Hebron, you know what I'm saying? Dry as a
Yeah,
motherfucker, bro. Shit like a desert. So
yeah. I was saying, I was in Hawaii, and the
yeah,
green out there was greening. When I got back
yeah,
home, yeah, when I got back home, man, you see how everything is brown. That's what I'm saying. Is you got it's there, but yeah, the color. Because the one thing I noticed about it out there, you don't see chemtrails and all that goofy ass shit. You know what I'm saying? So the
yeah.
green out there gets to actually be green. It looks nourished. You look over
Right.
here, man. This chemtrails and shit. Everything is green is supposed to be brown. Everything is brown. Oh, everything that's brown is worse. Yeah, I was like, man. But you see that the planet has been crippled by this devil, man. You got it.
Time. And it's only gonna get worse. It's only
Yep.
gonna get worse. So continuing on here, all right. It says, I am at verse back in verse 4. But what shall I now do unto you? I am a widow and forsaken. Go your way, O my children, and ask mercy of Yahweh Shai. As for me, O Father, I call upon thee for a witness over the mother of these children, which would not keep my covenant. Okay. And when you read Deuteronomy, let's get this real quick. Okay. The covenant was, if we forgot the covenant, we're gonna lose. Okay. All right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 23. All right. This is I believe this is Moses speaking. It says, "Take heed unto yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of the Lord your Father." And these are the words that Moses spoke right before we entered into the land. Okay. It says, "Lest you forget the covenant uh, of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, your power which he made with you, and make you a graven image or the likeness of anything which the Lord thy power hath forbidden thee." You see? So the Lord, man, he ain't playing around. Okay, you mess around and you make light of the covenant. Okay, the Lord, hey, look how we ended up. Look how we ended up,
Bro, you
bro.
got you got Jake making light of the new covenant. You know what I'm saying? Talk about we already in it with all this hell we catching and all these
Right.
prophecies that haven't passed yet. You know what I'm saying? You got it.
Right. So it says verse 6, it says that thou bring them to confusion and their mother to a spoil, that there may be no offspring of them. Okay. And again, man, the level of desolation that we faced, um, it was unprecedented. When you read the end of Jeremiah, I remember the first time, this is before I was like knew I was an Israelite or anything. The first time I heard Jeremiah and Isaiah, bro, I was like, bro, there's no good news in here. Like, where's the good news? Where's the good part? You
I
know
would
how
say
most stories, yeah,
that's why they don't bring it up. That's why they don't bring it up in the church. You know what I'm saying? In the slave Bible, all that was taken out.
you
You
know,
got
I
it.
mean, you read all of read all of Jeremiah 51. Um, read all of Jeremiah 52. Look how long this is. You
Yeah.
know, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, this is like the last words, that Jeremiah, that were what's the word, that were recorded by Jeremiah, right? It says the fall of Jerusalem. You can read about in Second Kings 24. All right. I'll drop down to verse 4. It says, "And it came to pass in the ninth year of his reign," talking about Zedekiah, "in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came, he and all his army, against Jerusalem, and pitched against it, and built forts round about, and was besieged until the 11th year." So they were literally besieged for 2 years, almost 2 years, the 11th year in the fourth month. Okay, and the famine was sore. So imagine, for a year and a half, no food in the city. Everybody's just drinking rainwater.
And that's what I'm saying. Even back then, the prophets told them that was coming. Just like now, everything that's coming, the prophets have told them through the Spirit. The Lord say, "Look, go, whether they listen or not, go tell them." That's exactly what's happening. You got it.
Yep. It says the famine was sore in the city, so that there was no bread for the people of the land. Then the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled and went forth out of the city by night by the way of the gate between the two walls, which is by the king's garden, and the Chaldeans around about, and they went by the way of the plain. It talks about the Chaldeans pursued after the king when Zedekiah tried to flee. You know, and so, man, Jerusalem fell, bro. Like, we got to really, like moment of silence, like really reflect on the fact that, bro, we had our own kingdom. We had our own kingdom, our own sovereign kingdom, you know, and we fucked it
Yep.
up.
And then when you realize that we had a sovereign kingdom, and then we lost it, now for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see, they want to get that back, which is the will of the Lord. To see what that we fumbled the bag and do everything we can to make it right. You see, that's why we make. I would say that's why it says make your body a living sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? You got to show the Lord that you're willing to sacrifice to get everything back. You know, and only understanding is gonna put you in that position. You got it.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back here. Um, verse 7, back in Second Ezra, chapter 2. It says, "Let them be scattered abroad among the heathen." Hello, the
Yeah,
diaspora,
you.
Israelite foreigners.
We agree. We agree. If we don't do what you say, this is what's gonna happen. Deuteronomy 28:15 on down. We agreed. You see? So since you agreed, you subject to the punishment.
Yep. Yep. It says, "Let them be scattered abroad among the heathen. Let their names be put out of the earth." See, that's why we got, you know, like IUIC says, nigga names. That's why we got nigga names. Because they're trying to make you
Yep.
gotta go and you change your name back to Ben Israel once you come into the IUIC. You gotta get rid of your old nigga name. So that's why we got nigga names, because we we're scattered among the heathen. You know what I mean? And our actual names were put out of the earth. You know, so that's why we don't know what tribe we belong to. We don't know We don't even know who our great grandfather was, bro. Like, you got your mother's 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 last name. So
Man,
right, and that could have been a heathen. Like, you know what I'm saying? So your last name don't mean shit. So when you have a child, you're like, man, fuck this last name. You know what I'm saying? Like this ain't even my father's last name. You know what I'm saying?
man,
So bro, that's why it says that thou bring them to confusion, man. That's multiple fold. Okay. So it says verse in the end of verse 7, for they have despised my covenant. Woe be unto thee, Asher, or excuse me, Assur, which that would be the I guess that would be the nation of uh Ashur. It's kind of tough for me to pronounce. I'm trying not to say Asher because that's a tribe in Israel. But
right.
Assur, it says, woe be unto thee, Assur, thou that hidest the unrighteous in thee, thou wicked people, remember what I did unto Sodom and Gomorrah. Let me look
You
up.
see how the Lord always go back. You see that was the past is required, man. Ain't no just forgive and forget. Ain't no. Because if you forgive, I'll say if you forget, that means you forgetting the work that the Lord did. You see, you don't get to forget the work that the Lord did and just walk the fuck out. Like, no, I didn't remember that, Lord, so I ain't subject to it. No, nope. You caught. So nah, you got it.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what Assur, because there's a nation named that, but I didn't know
I
if it
had to
was
go
like.
back into that. That's I'm rusty on that one.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't talking about like a specific city according to the history, but nothing really coming out here. But it does
Yeah,
say when you look it up, biblical context, the Bible uses the term Ashur to represent a powerful, often antagonistic world empire. Um, the struggle between the earthly empire of Ashur and the kingdom of the Most High is a recurring theme in the scripture. So, you know, anybody that tried to help, ultimately at the end of the day, anybody that tried to help uh Israel, you know, from the judgment, okay, you ain't getting away, okay? Because a lot of our people trusted in Egypt, and look where that got us during a time of like the Assyrian Empire being in power and the Babylonian Empire, Jacob was trusting in the Egyptians, you see, you know. But it says, verse 9, uh, whose land lieth in clouds of pitch and heaps of ashes, is referring to Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay. Even also unto, even so also will I do unto them that hear me not, saith the Almighty Lord. Okay. Let me get this precept real quick. Quick precept, real quick. Zechariah 13. And let me see here. Where did I want to start? Hold on. Um, yeah, yeah, I'll get this here. Referring to uh referring to verse 8. Okay. This is Zechariah 13 and let me see. And verse 8 it says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, now this is talking about here in Babylon the Great. Okay. That's that land, Babylon the Great. Said the Lord, two parts therein shall be cut off and die, and the third shall be left therein. Okay, but the third shall be left therein. So you have the 2/3, okay, which is the elect. I'm sorry, excuse me, which is anybody who's not of the elect, the wicked of our people. Okay, and then the 1/3 is the elect. Okay, men, women, and children. That peaceable multitude. Okay, but everybody's gonna have to go through a level of tribulation. Okay, through Jacob's trouble. Okay, and it talks about the refinement, of the 1/3 during that time. Okay. And how we're gonna get through that by calling on the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Okay, so we gotta consider our ways, man. It says verse 10. Let's see where we're at on time. All right, cool. Get a couple more. This is Second Ezra 2:10. It says, "Thus saith the Lord unto Ezra, tell my people that I will give them the kingdom of Jerusalem, which I would have given unto Israel." Okay. Now, again, same theme um, that we read about in the end of chapter 1. Okay. When it says my people, this is talking about the elect in the last days. Okay. Because
Mm-hmm.
Israel, Israel is traditionally the Lord's people, right? So, kind of like the King Saul and King David situation. The Lord told Samuel, like, look, I'm gonna replace Saul with a man after my own heart. Okay, Saul would have been ruling. That's what the Lord said. If I don't know the exact verse in First Samuel. Like basically was like, look, I would have set Saul up, and he would have been it would have been the house of Saul that the Lord is dealing with. But now it's the house of Saul that is going to get cut off, right? And even though they're both Israelites, it was just a different focus, right? And so kind of a similar thing here. Okay, the Lord, uh, he cut Israel off as a nation. Okay, but his people, as the term says, um, are those are the ones that are basically going to get it. What is that in Romans 11? When I say get it, I mean they're actually going to receive the the message, man. Okay, and actually apply it. This is Romans 11 and verse 7. It says, "What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it." What is that which Israel is seeking for? Ultimately, rest. Okay, because two-thirds
Okay,
are catching hell too. You
pull
got
that
it?
word for election, Baba Kasha.
Okay. Yeah. Word election. Ekloge. Yeah. It says the act of picking out or choosing. Okay. It says a thing or person chosen. Okay. Of persons the Most High's elect.
Go back up. Yeah, go
It
back up to
says,
that first one. The act of
okay.
the Most High free will.
Yep. The act of the Most High's free will by which, before the foundation of the world, he decreed his blessings to certain persons.
You see, to certain persons. You see, and if the Lord chose those certain persons, it don't matter if you believe it or not. You see,
That's right.
you got it.
That's right. Okay. Let's go back here. um, it says their glory, it's talking about the elect, also will I take unto me and give these the everlasting tabernacles, which I have prepared for them. Okay. What do Yahweh Shai say? I go to prepare a place for you, you know. And we went
Hmm.
into that word tabernacles at class on Saturday, basically going into a tent, you know, um, basically like a tent, or a cod, or excuse me, a cot. Okay. But what were the tabernacles used for um, while we were in the wilderness? It housed the Ark of the Covenant, and it was where the sacrifices took place. Okay. And so the Lord, He wants his men to continually give those sacrifices up. All right. It says, they shall have the tree of life for an ointment of sweet savor. Isn't this is in Revelation, is it 21 or 22? I want to say,
We can pull it.
yeah, and then this will be the last one I pull. We can kind of after we get this, but uh let's see here. Let's see. Uh, Tree, is it in this? Okay. It might be in this chapter. Okay, this is it right here. Yeah, Revelation 22 and 1. Um, let me read this verse again. And then I'll get this in Revelation. This is Second Ezra chapter 2, And verse 12, it says, they shall have the tree of life for an ointment of sweet savor. Now, this is talking about the kingdom. All right. It says they shall neither labor nor be weary. Because right now we still labor. We got to go to work tomorrow. So this can't be talking about right now.
Right.
Okay. So this is going into the kingdom, right? Things that we have to look forward to. Okay. The reason why we're fighting. Okay. Uh, where was I at? Revelation. That's a good stopping point. This is Revelation 22 and 1. It says, and he showed me, this is a vision that the Lord was showing uh, um, John the Revelator. It says, and he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb.
So
Okay, this
that's the understanding that we've been given.
that's right. Yep, that's right. Yep. And it's going to be in its purest form. It's going to be in its. It's going to be in its purest. We're going to be in our pure forms. And it's going to continue to flow. In the in the kingdom. But we're going to be in those new bodies, man. So it's going to be on the next level. Everything. The earth is going to be rejuvenated. Everything's going to be renewed. Okay. Talks about that in the previous chapter. Okay. It says in verse 22. Um, It says, and yeah, verses 1 and 2 is the point. It says, verse 20, excuse me, chapter 22, verse 2, in the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, there was the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of nations. Okay. So ultimately, a tree is used for nourishment. Okay, that's why he talks about the fruit here. Okay, and what type of nourishment? Spiritual nourishment. Okay, and when we go into how the word of Yahweh Shem Shai, okay, causes us to have those living waters. Okay, those living waters is what keeps us in the spirit and in tune with Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay, in the kingdom. It talks about how no man is going to need to teach each other anymore because it's all going to be written in our inward parts. So it's going to be in us, through us, within us. Okay, part of our culture, everything. Okay, and so I just wanted to kind of get that because it reminded me of this here. And of course, the nations, the healing of nations, the other nations too, the heathen. Um, of course, the heathen they're going to benefit secondhand just by the earth being in order. You see,
That's right.
so when you go here, when it says verse 12, they shall have the tree of life for an ointment of sweet savor. They shall neither labor nor be weary. That's talking about the kingdom. Okay. And let me see here. I'll stop at verse 13. It says, go and ye shall receive. Pray for a few days unto you that they may be shortened. The kingdom of heaven, excuse me, the kingdom is already prepared for you. Watch.
Man,
That's heavy. I mean, if that's not reassuring words from 2,500 years ago, I don't know what is, you know? And so that should let you know, bro, like we still got, continue to fight. We still have to continue to fight. Okay. It says, pray for a few days that they may be shortened. The kingdom is already prepared. So, man, the Most High already ordained this, from the beginning. We're just waiting for it to come to pass, and we're so close to the end. We've never been closer to the end before, or closer to the end than we are right now.
that's
You
right.
know, but chapter 2, second of chapter 2 has almost 50 verses. We're gonna stop here at verse 13. We've already been going for a little bit over an hour. Did you have any other points of coin that you wanted before we close out?
Nah, we good to go. Yeah, I
Con,
would say I would say the first chapter was going into everything that the Lord was putting us through, but He's putting us through it so we can see the end result. You know what I'm saying? Now it
con,
went from what else can I do to you niggas to okay those that repented. You know what I'm saying? So now moving forward. We know what we fighting for. We know what the assignment is, and we lock, stock, and barrel. We ready to roll. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, the things that we've gone through don't outweigh the things that we've been promised. You know, you got it.
Con. Hey, so Lord willing, Abaratazah, that was edifying. With that, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. Till next time, say Shalom.
Shalom.